Press 2 for representative.
Welcome back to another episode of Press 2 for Representative. Happy to be with you all today. My name is Parker Andrus, and I'm joined with Ian Blotter. We work for a company called TELE-NET, which is a Japanese-owned and operated BPO, business process outsourcing company with high-quality customer service as the forefront of everything that we do. Ian, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Welcome. Happy to be here. And I'm sure all the many listeners and subscribers that we have, tuned in to, multiple episodes already. So we're happy to be here to give you another hot take on some very important things happening in our world.
Yeah, we also have, as everybody can notice, a guest with us. Ian, you wanna tell us who's joining us today?
Yes, this is a very special guest of ours, Chris Kesler, coming from summitly.com. He is a consultant that we work with on many projects. He is probably an AI expert, if I would say so. I don't know many, but he does know, everything that's happening in the AI technology space. So we love working with him and, learning from him. But yeah, Chris, why don't you go ahead and give us a little introduction?
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks for the introduction. AI expert. I'll take that. Yeah, happy to be here. Been in the technology call center world for 20 years, just helping businesses, companies with call centers, outsourcers like yourself understand what's going on with technology, how to move the needle and improve customer experience, operations, all of those kinds of things. So yeah, excited to have a conversation today.
Great. Yeah, I think I first met you back when you were working at In Contact days. So
Yeah.
a long time ago. You've really been through it all. I would say you know this space pretty well then.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Lots of changes. This AI one's pretty exciting, but it's yeah, one of many changes that the call center space, customer experience has gone through over the last 20 years or so. But there's a lot happening. So
So, Chris, I'm gonna start out just firing right out of the gate and ask a question for you. As mentioned, AI is the progress. I saw something yesterday. Just in the past 2.5 years, the incredible progress that AI has made. And even 2.5 years ago, when I first saw AI, I was like, "Oh, that's crazy that they can make a celebrity look like they're doing something," and it wasn't that great quality. But one
yeah,
of the first questions and things people were saying is like, "Oh, customer service call centers, they're done for. Like, this is going to put everybody out of business." Um, and it certainly has had an impact, but it hasn't really taken place of human agents yet. There's been a lot of improvements. Can you just talk about why there hasn't been a full-on replacement and kind of how it's improved and made things better within the call center industry?
sure. Yeah, I mean, I definitely hear that with my clients as well. And in the space, there's, the concern. There's also, I would say a lot of businesses who haven't looked into it yet think that, oh, hey, maybe that's an opportunity for us to dramatically downsize our call center, reduce costs, and we can just do everything with AI. And to your point, that's definitely not the case. It kind of reminds me of the changes that businesses went through when the first IVR technologies came out, interactive voice response, if people don't know what that means. Just menu systems. People thought, well, hey, we can put everything in the menu system and leverage integration with our systems and do things that way. And I see the way my clients are using AI for call center is pretty similar. It's very, very effective for helping address those monotonous, tedious, repetitive type interactions that are kind of a waste for a human being anyway, if you think about it, right? I mean, if you think about a lot of call centers and the people that you have in there, the idea of having them like check your order status or look up a tracking number or, hours of operation, just real basic stuff. That's a very expensive, tedious, task for those people to do. So I think what we're finding is this technology is almost just the next iteration of kind of that IVR type mentality, where it's putting more emphasis and focus and even opportunity on the human beings to do what they're most valuable and capable of doing anyway, which is providing that customer interaction, helping with the more detailed, more complex requests, things like that. So I almost view it, and my clients have seen it as a benefit where instead of, if they've got a call center team of people instead of forcing them to have to do all this monotonous, tedious stuff, they can take that off their plate and give them more room to breathe and more time to focus on the interactions that are really required for a human being anyway. So generally, I think that's what's going on. I don't know if AI will ever get to the point where it can replace everything. I think there's probably always going to be a need for a human and that touch and that level of detail. So that's what I'm seeing.
Thanks. Yeah. And I appreciate that. And IVRs are interesting. I still find myself getting frustrated using them. I mean, sometimes, of course, they are convenient for checking certain things, but I end up just being like, yeah, pounding that number 2 key. Give me a representative. We're saying over and over, representative.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's almost as if AI has allowed for these customer service agents to go from a tier 1 and be bumped up to a tier 2 instantly, because again, those monotonous things where agents really shouldn't be spending the time to look up an order status or if a payment went through, this allows them to handle the more complex issues that the human mind can better handle.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I
people
think
don't
so.
really, I think much about the AI until it's not working, right? Where, AI is amazing. It's working great. It's like but as soon as you get a wrong answer, as soon as you have to repeat something for the third time, you're like, okay, this is why we have humans. This is why they have jobs.
Yeah.
So
I think it's similar to like what Parker was saying with IVRs. If it becomes evident that it's going to be a frustrating process or that it's not capable, like you said, Ian, of doing what you want it, then you just want to bypass it as quickly as possible. So, I think that's the experience. I'm sure you guys have experienced like AI chat tools or other tools where, you know, you'll kind of follow it along as long as it's helping you and giving you the assistance that you need. But as soon as you start getting basic responses when you really need a more complex one, or it's not understanding you or whatever the case is, then you just want to say, okay, you know what, get me a real person. So obviously, to Parker's point, they're making improvements and it's getting better. um, and I think that's the biggest factor. As long as you feel like it's addressing your issue, you're okay using it. If you think about if you were calling your bank or your credit union or whatever, if you can check your balance or shut down a credit card that you think has been lost or stolen or whatever, and you don't have to talk to a person because it's effectively supporting you, then most people are like, okay, great, I want to get in, get out. But there's always going to be things that you're probably not even comfortable talking with an AI bot with. It's a more detailed or more sensitive topic, and you just want to go to an agent. So I think that's part of the AI experience as well, is businesses knowing where and how to leverage AI instead of just trying to use it as a blanket solution for everything. Where are the aspects or the interactions that make sense for AI? And let's use it where it's appropriate, but let's get the people to humans where it's appropriate as well.
I think
yeah, I
that,
think
I think that's super
go ahead.
smart because AI is just one of the hottest topic right now that people are just trying to slap it onto anything and everywhere. But if you're not carefully assessing where it's appropriate and where you shouldn't be applying it, then it could be your ultimate downfall for a terrible and provide a terrible customer experience for your customers. So very interesting
Yeah,
And
point.
totally.
and one thing I love, that you're sharing with the know and the how of to implement AI, because when I talk to customers or potential companies that are looking for solutions, they're like, oh, I just want an AI solution. They just kind of are assuming that this AI agent can do it all already. And I mean, like we said, there's things it does great, things it doesn't. So you still need sort of that tier 2 human interaction. So
Hmm.
just making sure that you know what you need up front. You kind of have those conversations, figuring out how to sort of guide the customer through the journey to get the
Yeah.
service and help that they need.
Well, and it's definitely a journey, like you said, and I'd be curious to see what you guys have experienced. But generally, what I've seen is if you take an average business that has a call center, um, if just a generic type of business, that the types of calls that they're getting, on average, I'm seeing AI can effectively manage 20 to 40% of all of their incoming traffic across all channels. Email's a little more challenging, but the real-time channels AI can effectively, handle, again, depending on the business. But usually where I start is, let's look at your call history. Let's look at your dispositions. I want to see your average handle time. I want to see how many calls are you getting in each of these different categories? And then as you break those down, as we've already talked about, which of these call buckets or call types are those basic, repetitive, pretty straightforward? Those are the ones that are easily going to fit into those buckets where you start off at that 20%. And then the determining factor that's going to determine, okay, can you go to 30 or even 40% is just how many other call types and categories do you have? And are they basic and simple, or are they complex? How long are those calls? How much back and forth is required? You know, when your human agents are handling those calls, do they have to interact with a bunch of different systems? And, you know, what's those processes like? So it's, yeah, everyone wants to talk about AI. They might see some statistics or vendors that are saying, hey, we can take 50% of your traffic and handle that. Well, that's just not going to be the case. And every single business that I've seen that's deployed all kinds of AI solutions, it's always a crawl, walk, run approach anyway, where, you know, they'll take 10% right off the top that are just like the super basic, where's my order, or whatever it is. And then it's a process to learn it and to train it and to really get it to a point where it starts, you know, taking more and more calls. But every business is going to be a little different. And it's, you know, no one's going to start off with 40, 50% of their calls being handled by AI. That's just very unrealistic.
Yeah, and like you said, that's such, a lot of people kind of make that mistake. They'll fall into that trap because they don't consider that, and they want to start out running, where they have that mentality. But it kind of transitioning to a different topic within AI. We've been talking about the kind of the customer facing role, but there's a lot of AI as well that's on the internal side, on the back office side, to improve agent efficiency, not just how many calls they can do and handling time, but just to make their interactions and the process and work, the tickets that they're handling, whatever it might be, to be more effective, be more efficient. Maybe we can talk a little bit about that as well, as to what you're seeing and what's really cool of what's going on, and how we're, again, maximizing efficiency and making just a better customer experience via AI, not just for the customer facing end.
Yeah. I actually kind of like that end a little more right now, because the opportunities for improvement and ROI and streamlining is actually a lot more straightforward on the internal process side than with the customer side. We've kind of talked about how complicated and involved and you know, it's just not it's not a clear cut, like, do this and get this return when you're talking about AI on the customer side, because everyone's different. On the internal side, there's a whole set of really standard processes and steps and tools that are used when you have a call center that historically have been extremely manual and really, really inefficient. And we can break down a few of these, but one that's a great example is the internal QA process. So everyone's heard, you know, when they call in, like, this call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance purposes. Most people, if you're just not in the space, don't even know what that means. They're like, oh, you're recording my calls? Like, what does that even mean? But what businesses are doing that have a call center is they're recording typically 100% of every call that comes in, and it goes into the system behind the scenes. It's called a quality monitoring or quality assurance platform. And then they have a separate team within the call center that is typically called the quality team. And depending on the size of the call center, so let's say you have 100 agents on the phone, you might have 8 to 10 people who are on that quality team. And those people literally every day, all day, are listening typically to random calls and going through and scoring each call. They have a scorecard tool. They're listening. They're saying, okay, I'm listening to a call with Ian. It's 5 minutes long. Did he say this? Did he say this? Did he ask this question? Oh man, I got to dock him some points because he didn't ask this question, or he put the customer on hold too many times. You know, they're trying to understand, are my agents doing a good job? How do I measure the quality of this agent performance and our performance overall? And then it goes into a scoring and a reporting and everything. Now, based on the volume for an agent, they might have 2% of all of their calls for the month actually be scored and recorded. So if you think about it, it's like, if you take a 2% sample, does that really tell you how that agent is doing? Does it really tell you how you're doing as an overall call center as far as customer service? It really doesn't. And those types of processes are the perfect opportunities for AI, right? As we talked about at the beginning, anytime you have a tedious, monotonous, repetitive type process, that's where AI really, really shines. So now we're seeing solutions with AI that will record 100% of calls. Then they'll use AI to listen to all of those calls. They'll transcribe the interaction. They'll go through and they'll say, here's a conversation that Ian just had. And this is happening in real time. So within a couple of seconds, AI will look at that call. They'll compare it to the scorecard, which is the metrics and the things that are important to the call center and the business. And they'll say, here's the score that Ian has. And instead of only listening to 1 or 2% and scoring those calls, now you're doing it to 100% of the calls. So not only are you getting a complete picture and view of everything that's happening, you're also essentially eliminating a need for that whole QA team, let's say 8 to 10 people who you're paying 50, 60, 70 grand a year to do that job. Now, all of a sudden, those people can do something else. Maybe they focus on coaching. Maybe they focus on other aspects within the business that, instead of doing this manual, monotonous, tedious work. So to your point, Parker, like there's some really, really cool tools to help make the business more efficient and to give them way more insight and feedback than they've ever had before, because now they don't have to rely on a person manually doing all of this work.
Yeah, and the real-time aspect of that is, I think, equally amazing. We have a partner company out of Malaysia that they were showing us some of their in-house AI tools where it's integrated into WhatsApp that one of their clients uses for customer service, and it tracks all of the messages as the agent is typing it. So obviously, a lot of times agents speak with very emotional, often angry individuals, and if they say something offensive, an agent might feel like they need to respond with a little bit of heat behind a comment, and this totally eliminates that chance. Like they showed us multiple times where they would type out like, hey, shut up, idiot, or something like that, and it would not allow them to send, and instead it would propose a different message right then. And again, that just ensures that there's no more mistakes of a misjudgment or a lash out emotionally to a certain inquiry. So that real time aspect is really, really cool. And again, like you said, 2% is an incredibly small sample size to try and grade someone's entire process and experience. So this way, having that 100% real time QA going just, again, opens up the doors for even better experience for the customer and really helps people improve and really hone in on what they can do to get better as a customer service agent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The value is seen very quickly on everything that you kind of laid out of what you can benefit. And one thing you also mentioned is the QAs. They're not losing their job necessarily. They're sort of being moved into a coaching position possibly, which I really like, because QA moving into a coaching position, they already have some good experience on understanding the calls and what they're supposed to be doing, and so knowing everything that they're doing versus just a small percentage, and then helping agents sort of have a better idea of what they can do to improve every call is pretty amazing. And so I really appreciate that
and
example.
I think I've seen that with most of my clients as well. When they're deploying AI, they're not letting people go. They might just let natural attrition take place. If someone moves on, then they don't have to backfill them as quickly. They repurpose them or let them move into different roles, things like that. Another example of that internal AI is agent assist functionality, which is really powerful as well. And that's another great example. We talked about how, let's just say you take 20% of your call volume and handle it with AI. So that gives your agents and, call center an additional 20% capacity. Well, they're not firing 20% of their agents on most cases. What they're doing is they're saying, hey, now you've got breathing room, so you can take a little more time, provide a better experience. And then on top of that, this agent assist functionality is helping agents in real time. So separate from that QA, QM process, typically when you call in and talk to an agent, that agent is having to look you up in a CRM or another database to see who are you, what did you purchase, or what are we doing for you, what's your history, all of these kinds of things. Then depending on your question, they might have to pull up 1, 2, 3 other systems to understand, well, how can I help you with this problem or this question? And where can I find that information and all that? And that's why we've all been, talking to an agent where they're like, can I put you on hold? Or, okay, let me figure this out. And there's just time that's required to do the job, whatever it is that they're doing for you. With Agent Assist, the AI engine is listening to that conversation in real time. And it hears Ian say, well, hey, can I return this product, or I'm having this issue. How can you help me? I don't have to then, as the agent, turn around and type it up. Well, let me look up what you're doing. The AI is listening, and it's proactively telling me, oh, here are the options that you can give to Ian on that product. Click a link. Does he want to do a return? And it's giving me information before I even have to ask for it. It's also potentially auto-populating things so that I don't have to enter notes into my CRM of the interaction. It's transcribing the whole conversation, summarizing it, and doing it for me. So I can just focus on the interaction and not oh crap, I got to look up your account number. Can you please tell me this? It knows it and it's doing it for me. So again, it's just giving me breathing room, right? It's not taking my job away. It's helping me do a better job so that I can do what I'm great at, which is provide that interaction, listen to you, make sure you're getting the assistance that you need, and doing all of that for you. So that's another great use case of AI that I've seen on the internal side, is just that Agent Assist, helping them along the way so they have a better capacity of providing an experience to the customer. So those are some really powerful ones that I've seen.
Yeah, it's funny because whenever I'm on the customer side, or calling in support, you just sort of assume that they have all the information in front of them. Like, I'm calling, I have this issue. Like, you should know who I am. That's sort of, I think, the thought process of a lot of people calling in customer support. So
Yeah.
something like that can help.
Well, I think
that.
to like Parker's point, where it was like, hey, instead of tier 1, now you're automatically being elevated to a tier 2. The way I kind of see it going is potentially, every agent's on the same level, and you don't have tier 3, all this kind of, because AI can give me all the information that I need. Maybe I'm not an expert necessarily in, this level of support or whatever, but AI can be. And so all I have to do is kind of be that conduit between the systems and the business and the customer. And as we're having these interactions, the AI model will give me all the pertinent information that I need to help you and to get your issue resolved. That way I don't have to hand you off to Ian, who has to escalate to Parker and do all of these things. I can just be the quarterback of the conversation, and AI is doing all the technical things and bringing me up processes and procedures and all of those things that need to go with it. So, yeah, I think that's what I see is, the agents really just being empowered to do a better job, and cutting out all the unnecessary steps and transfers and things that people don't like anyway.
Yeah, I like that as well. I also appreciate the analogy of throwing in the quarterback in there. I'm a big sports guy. Ian is actually our king of analogies. If you've seen our episode, you know that Ian usually comes up with a fantastic analogy. But I'm gonna make an attempt at it, take a swing at it, if you will. I like thinking about sports, and sports are very, very interesting when you look at it from this perspective of how much time they spend training and trying to improve compared to the actual job of a game, right? The training and the effort to become better far outweighs the actual what's considered work of playing in a game. And it's really only in sports that you kind of see that. Whereas if we had that mentality for that in every industry, imagine the improvement that would take place immediately. And that's what AI is enabling, is for more time to focus in on the training. Like Ian said, more time to focus in on coaching, and spend on how you can improve and be better, as opposed to just in the moment, hey, I'm just trying every day by gaining experience. But this allows you to take a step back and really look at what needs to be coached, what needs to be improved, and focus in on becoming better and more knowledgeable. So it's interesting to think of it like that.
Yeah, it actually reminds me of a solution that I saw just a few weeks ago that is an AI engine just for that purpose of coaching. And what it allows agents to do is to have interactions with AI customers or whatever that run them through scenarios that either they need to improve on or that they just, need to be trained on regularly, so that they're they're testing and honing those skills in an AI environment, not having to be thrown out into the deep end. So it's for not only onboarding new agents, but also existing agents that maybe those coaches have identified, like, hey, Ian needs to work on this or whatever. And so then you go into this simulated training environment where you're still handling calls, chats, whatever it might be. But the AI agent is like throwing you objectives or getting upset with you or asking for escalations or whatever it might be. And you have to deal with it. And then you get scored on it and everything. And so that reminded me of another interesting, application of AI as far as coaching and training. That's pretty cool that I saw.
Yeah, it's super informative for me. I mean, I'm hearing these things like, man, I want that within our company because there's the possibilities are endless. And again, it's just increasing the potential of and capability of these human agents. We've talked previously that of course AI is going to continue to improve and come up with incredible solutions, but eventually the premium experience might be a human where like it just kind of comes full circle of, hey, I actually just want a human. And I was talking with somebody the other day of how eventually people might just, when you call in, hey, do you want to speak to an AI individual or do you want to speak to a human, and have that option at the beginning? Because I do think that there's a cultural thing to it. Different cultures are going to want to utilize and interact with AI differently. And then also a generational thing as well. Obviously the younger generation is all in on AI. Whereas I guess I'm the old timer and old fashioned guy now where I, I prefer to actually speak with a human still. So thinking about that is super interesting but hearing all of these solutions that you're introducing is just fascinating.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
I was just going to say, so if you're a customer out there hearing these, these solutions, these potential, services, let us know because Chris can hook you up.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. It's challenge. The biggest thing that I've seen is, I think the last list that I saw, there were like over 3,000 or 4,000 AI vendors out there. It's kind of this thing that's there's all these companies trying to pop up and provide different solutions and things. And as Parker mentioned, every company, every board, every executive team is either being told or is driving initiatives like, how do we leverage AI? We need to be leveraging AI. And I've seen a bit of a shift with businesses where they're starting to realize, okay, we can't just throw AI at everything. Now they're taking a little more time and they're making sure that whatever they look at deploying can actually deliver business impact. And so I'd recommend to anybody, make sure that you take the time and the due diligence to verify, like, how is this going to actually change the business, improve your customer service, or reduce your costs, or whatever it might be. Because AI is not some magical bullet that you can just, flip the switch and you're going to get a business impact or change. It could end up costing you money. It could end up costing you customers. And so, you definitely need to be careful with it. And I think, businesses and outsourcers like TELE-NET are always going to be critical to companies because, there's just like AI, like there's specialists in every aspect of the business. You guys specialize in that human touch and everything, which businesses I think are going to continue to need for a very long time. And so, just finding the right solution for what you're trying to solve is going to be critical. You can't just throw AI at everything and think it's going to fix the business.
Not all AI is created equal.
That's right. Yeah.
Very cool.
Very good. Awesome conversation. One thing that we like to do on our show, Chris, is we like to have a win of the week and or a fail of the week. And as is customary on whenever we have a guest, we like to put them on the spot and just share either a win or a fail. I mean, we all have one or the other of customer service that you've experienced or that you've heard about and thought like, yeah, that was really cool or that was really bad. Do you have something you could share with us?
Yeah, you are
Putting you on the spot. Like I said, yeah.
Let's see. Like a win or a fail from my personal, like as a consumer or clients. What do you have a preference?
Yeah, as a consumer, like when a company went above and beyond to meet your customer service needs, or they fell extremely short and flat on their face, and they were just terrible. You couldn't believe what you experienced.
Interesting. I think the most recent one that kind of comes to mind was I recently changed cell phone providers. So I was using AT&T. I've been using AT&T for like 20 years. And we switched to Verizon. And the main reason was that I realized, like, for my family, I think I was paying like $350 a month for just basic cell phone plans for, what was it? Four phones, nothing crazy. And I found out that I could switch to Verizon, basically get brand new iPhones for everybody and cut my monthly cost in half. And the thing that just shocked me was, on one hand, you understand like AT&T just like, man, we've got this guy paying this legacy pricing. We're just going to keep him, don't tell him, like we'll keep him here for as long as possible. And when I had messaged with the customer service people, they asked me why. And I told them, and they're like, well, what if we reduce your costs? I'm like, guys, it's almost to the principle of the thing that like you've been screwing me over for years. And now because I'm going to change, you'll give me a better price. So it's just like, it kind of goes to the conversation around AI. It's like a lot of businesses have this knowledge and it's like, are you being proactive with your clients, making sure, because at some point they're going to wake up or they're going to have some realization. And at that point, it's going to be too late. And so, that was kind of the experience that I had was, geez, like, because I wasn't proactively up, it's like I got too much to worry about. I can't go through and cost compare everything that I'm doing. But yeah,
Right.
I was getting hosed for a long time. And it wasn't until I wanted to leave that they were like, oh, hey, we can help you. Can we help you? I was like, no, sorry, it's too late.
Already out the door.
Yeah.
I feel like whenever a fail is shared, the probability of it being within either the cell phone industry or the
Airlines?
airline industry is like those two industries have a ways to go because they're falling short so often with their customer service. So
It's weird too because, those are like commodities, right? If you think about like even like TV service or internet service, and or insurance, like I feel like a lot of these businesses just think like, okay, we're going to lose some, but then Verizon's going to have a bunch of pissed off customers and we'll get them. And we're just passing customers back and forth, so it's kind of a weird deal. I felt that way for a long time, even with airlines and stuff. It's like Delta's like, you know what? Yeah, sorry, but you'll come back, or we'll get an unhappy United customer that'll come to us. So
they view us as replaceable a little bit too easily.
Yeah.
The whole subscription world, I think people are just getting tired of subscriptions, so eventually people are just going to stop, I think, but who knows?
Yeah, seriously.
Ian, any final thoughts from you?
Not much. Really appreciate, everything that you're able to share with us. I mean, it's very insightful, and eye-opening in a lot of ways. I love that, AI is super helpful, but at the same time, it's not going to replace you. It's not scaring people. I mean, that's what a lot of times some people think that AI is just going to ruin my life or take my job or whatever. But if companies do it right and they find ways to really implement it and make it successful, and you can be more profitable, you can find the ROI that you talked about. So very appreciative of you sharing all those stories and examples. I just, I want to try them.
Yeah. No, there is some cool stuff out there for sure.
Very good. Well, we appreciate your time, Chris. Of course, you can catch our podcast on all of the major platforms, whatever you listen to podcasts on, as well as YouTube. So feel free to click subscribe and send us any questions that you might have. We'd be happy to address those. But, Ian, you have one more comment?
I was going to say thank you for all of the subscribers, the listeners out there that are currently listening to us, because I know there's hundreds. We like the comments.
Love the comments. But until next time, this has been Press 2 for Representative. We'll see you next time.
All right. See you next time. Thanks, Chris.
See you guys.